It's now 6 p.m. We'll call this regular meeting of the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors to order. Would note that all members are present physically, as well as County Administrator Mr. Barton, Board Clerk Ms. Teresa Lyle, and I believe our County Attorney is here by phone. Is that right, Mr. Mullins?
He's not on yet.
Ms. Sturgill's not called in yet.
He's going to be there soon.
Is everybody comfortable moving on, allowing him a few minutes to get called in?
We're gonna do this first.
Yeah, so we'll give him a few minutes. So if everybody's okay with going on with the agenda, I'll open the meeting with a brief word of prayer here. If you'll join us and bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Thanking you for allowing us to come together as free people. I ask you to bless this meeting as we make decisions for the betterment of Dickinson County. Please be with each household that's dealing with sickness or otherwise. I know that everything is done in your will, and I ask that you grace us with knowledge and ability to make good decisions for the people of Dickinson County. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. Ron, do you mind to lead us with the pledge?
Everyone stand, please, and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chair, I think our attorney may be on now.
Okay. Mr. Sturgill, are you on?
I am
Okay.
here, Bob.
Thank you, Will. Thanks. That'll take us to item number 3, approval of our minutes from public hearings, November 23rd, and as well as our minutes from our November 23rd regular meeting. Are there any issues, questions, concerns with those minutes? If there are none, we would entertain a motion to approve them.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Item number 4, approval of the agenda. Mentioned to Mr. Peters there briefly before the meeting began that we maybe move number 9 up to 5 and then just bump everything on down to allow our guests, if they would like to leave after the presentation, they can. If they want to stay, that's certainly fine, but we all have families and they work, so if we want to allow them to maybe get out of there, and is that okay?
It's fine with me.
So is there a motion maybe to modify the agenda?
And then we need to add 17B also.
Okay, so if somebody wants to make a motion for that amendment we discussed as well as the addition, 17B,
Okay. I'll make that motion.
is there a second?
Second.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. That takes us then to number 5, would be a presentation by Mr. Peters for, appreciation, I guess, Ron, for first responders.
Yes.
An event that happened, is it near the breaks maybe or something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, if I may, I would like to have the following individuals come up here on the podium. And now I wanted to read something. Mr. Terry Bartley, Hayside Rescue. Silas Isaac Boyd, Hayside Rescue. Chris Edwards, Hayside Fire Department. Andrew Edwards, Hayside Fire Department. Jennifer Cook, Hayside Fire Department. Emily Cook, Hayside Fire Department. Brett Stallard, Dickinson County Sheriff's Office. Jerry Ford, Dickinson County Sheriff's Office. And then finally our EMS coordinator, Richard Thacker.
See Richie.
Keep that girl in uniform.
Yeah, you recognize.
He's changed.
I know you now moved job, and let me read that so that Richie now works for Dickinson County Sheriff's Office. He's a lieutenant. Oh, everyone needs a lieutenant. In the military, the lieutenant was the guy that took the blame for everything. That's been my experience anyway. I want you guys to get up here first because I'm used to like a military award ceremony. We have you guys standing up here in the place of honor. And I'm gonna go ahead and discuss what happened. On November 6th, they were called out, someone fell from a cliff 30 to 35 feet down towards Breaks. First on the scene was Richie and I think you, Brett. I'm gonna read a quote directly from our emergency management coordinator. Terry Bartley was the first EMT on the scene, and let me tell you, I have been in some tight first let me rephrase that. I've been in some type first responder capacity since I was 16. This was by far the best work I've seen in those years for the circumstances we were working in. These men and women waded water, mud, high weeds, climbed over high rocks and down trees to get to the injured person, then carried him out to the waiting warm ambulance. He was stabilized and transported to Sand Lake Elementary School where a med flight was waiting. Nothing about this story is new to these men and women, but last night was something else. It was like Terry's skills had doubled and each man and woman's strength had doubled. They worked so hard to save this man's life and make the extraction as easy as possible with the least amount of pain. The end of this story is tonight I witnessed true heroes that were truly blessed by the hand of God. So while most people had no idea this was even going on, these people left relaxing with their families to selflessly come to the aid of someone they had no idea who it would be. Yes, I am calling the Dickinson County Sheriff's Office, Hayside Volunteer Fire Department, Hayside Rescue Squad heroes. Also the pilot and paramedics with the med flight. It's almost 2:30 a.m. is when he was making his quote, and I still can't get this off my mind. I wanted to tell you, the Sheriff's Department, the Fire Department, the Rescue Squad, all through the county, they're always out there. They're our heroes, they're our local heroes, and they're there day and night. And then this was a situation that came upon us, and I want to thank Richie, because you kind of helped us put this together and for your efforts, because we wanted to recognize. And this is on behalf of the entire Board of Supervisors. I got asked to do this because I'm the Director for Emergency Management, but really these awards are from the Board of Supervisors, and I would like all of you to get in the photos. I'm going to go ahead and make the coin presentations. Gary? That's kind of how we did it in the military.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your service.
No problem. I do it because I enjoy doing it.
Yeah. Thank you for your service. How old are you, Terry, if you don't mind telling?
I'm 70 years old.
And listen to that, climbing over high rocks and over cliffs and stuff. Thank you. Thank you. Matt. How old are you?
I'm 18.
You? 60.
Oh, my
Listen to
gosh.
that. Isn't that awesome?
That's awesome.
They're volunteers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
I know that you're not accustomed to that.
I'm not.
Thank you. Brett, no surprise there. Thank you. How old are you?
29.
29. You
Yeah,
look
look that
younger
old.
than that. It's hard to believe.
Don't ask Richie.
What's that?
He's younger than me, because
Yeah, I am too.
She said, don't ask Richie.
Thank you, Richie, for appreciate you.
if I might add
Yeah,
something to
let's
what you said, what happened that night wouldn't have been possible if it hadn't been for all the good help that I had. And I'm including every one of this group
Yeah.
in that. It didn't matter what I asked, somebody stepped forward and helped when we needed help. And, you know, I was the one attending to the patient, strained, I guess you'd say, so that makes me the AIC. But it didn't matter who I asked for help, I got it.
That's
And I
wonderful.
hope that no one thinks that I'm mocking folks with the hat I'm wearing on my head, but I'm just, this is my time of year, and I'm still in that spirit. Thank you. So let's get you
How
guys.
is the man today?
He's doing good, but he's supposed to get out of the hospital, they decided to get him up and walking. He had, if I'm not mistaken, 5 vertebrae broken in his back,
Ooh,
Oh, no.
3 or 4 ribs broke. His
shoot.
neck, I think, was one of the injuries. And, maybe a broken leg, wasn't it?
What happened exactly?
He fell over a cliff.
That was,
Yeah.
He
you
was
familiar
throwing
with Tom Bottom
trash,
area?
Yeah, a little bit.
throwing brush.
Just before
On
you,
his own property?
No,
no,
no.
just before you get to the trestle going down Bartlett, before you get to Tom Bottom.
big old cliff right there. Nobody, I mean, including myself, knew that it was that straight off drop.
No.
I mean, I'm sure y'all didn't know. And, I mean, it's a vertical drop.
Somebody was with you though, I guess.
It was wife.
His
Thankfully.
wife was in trouble.
Yeah.
He was just kicking some brush out that he's.
Lucky so, 'cause
Nobody would have never known he was there.
No, we didn't.
She said he went to kick a piece of that brush over, slipped and fell, and went over that cliff. He told me, he said, when I hit the ground, he said, I know I bounced 4 or 5 foot high.
Oh, my gosh.
On rocks.
Now, he told me.
He hit on
It was on
rocks.
rocks.
Yeah.
Does he live in that area down there?
Yeah, he lived in Barnes. Yeah.
you guys are heroes. And
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much, and I think, do we wanna get a
Get a
photo?
picture,
And I
yes.
think it's appropriate that all supervisors, because this award's out there.
We need to circle around.
Yeah.
A couple of supervisors on each end.
This is what y'all helped us do. No, that's
We
what I
appreciate
do.
y'all. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not cool enough
That's what
to
we do.
salute, so y'all do the COVID.
Well, I don't know, I'm a little rusty at
And I
it.
don't blame you. I've had my shot.
You
Just
get
have it
paid
for me, 30 years. and-
Okay, so you got.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard.
Now, as I would say, as I've been saying all month, say reindeer, reindeer.
I think we got you, so
Thank
thank you all.
Thank you again, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate what you
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys, appreciate you.
Appreciate you all.
I just drove by you a little bit ago.
Great job.
I seen you out front of the
Thanks, guys.
rescue squad there.
David washing truck. Give something to drink, I was there washing the truck.
Thank you, Terry, you guys are doing great. So,
For David.
Hopefully I didn't break my protocol.
Great.
I have it for me. I'm thinking of how we get awards and I salute.
All right, Larry, I guess if everybody's ready, we go on to item number, I guess it's 6 now. County Administrator's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've got the County Administrator's Report for the month of October 2021. For the General County Fund, revenue for the month of October was $1,709,182. Expenditures for the month of October was $1,929,320. Year-to-date revenue, $6,591,616. Year-to-date expenditures, $10,577,504. Of course, we are still trailing there, but with the December tax collection, you'll see a big uptick on that. The local coal and gas road improvement fund for the month of October, revenue was $721,600. Expenditures, $224,674. Year-to-date revenue, $1,931,113. Expenditures, $762,601. The E911 fund for the month of October, revenue was $20,595. Expenditures were $65,841. That makes a year-to-date revenue of $223,948. Year-to-date expenditures, $264,124. Lastly, we have the Federal CARES Act COVID-19 fund. For the month of October, we had revenue of $93 and expenditures of $213,839. That made our year-to-date revenue $450,477. Year-to-date expenditures $675,385. Does anyone have any questions on that?
I don't believe so. I believe you encompass the report and the expenditures all into one, so
Sure.
we need to approve, I guess, the report and expenditures and all into one motion, probably, right?
I can go ahead and do the expenditures for.
Well, okay, I thought you did,
November.
okay.
So we do.
Yeah, if you want to go
One motion for
ahead.
both. So let's go and do the expenditures for the month of November. General County Fund total expenditures was $764,579.31. The E911 was $72,733.05. Coal and Gas Road Improvement Fund was $0. And the Federal CARES Act was $225. Anyone
Sorry,
have any
Larry, I threw
questions
you
on
off.
those?
I messed that up a little bit, but that's my fault. Anybody have any questions for Mr.
Mr.
Barney?
Chairman, may I ask
Sure.
Mrs. Wrights how your collection has went so far? What percentage of it's been paid?
I really don't have that right now, Rhonda. I'd have to get that for you.
I'm just wondering, has it been good?
We've had some holdups with the bank reconciliation with some problems, and so, I mean, we've not got to reconcile November yet, so it'll be a little while.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I guess you was asking about the December 5th collections, right?
Yeah.
Was your December 5th good?
Yes, it was.
I think that's what you basically.
Yeah,
did.
that's what I basically was,
But I don't have a percentage of how much we.
well, if it's just good, it's good, that's a good
It
idea.
was good, yeah.
If no other question, I make a motion that we approve Mr. Barton's reports.
And the expenditures as well? Or do you want to do them separately? I kind of
yes.
messed that up. We'll do them separately.
Okay.
Have a motion to approve the county administrator's report. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye as well. Is there a motion to approve the expenditures as reported by Mr. Barton?
I make a motion that we approve the expenditures.
Is there
I'll
a second?
second it.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye as well. Takes us to item number 8 now, which is roads. Ms. Willis, I guess I'll start with you.
I don't see anyone here from Kennedy, I don't believe. Does anyone have an issue in the Kennedy district? You can go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Sluss?
Is anybody here from the Clintwood district that has? I had requests for guardrails above McDonald's. I called and they said that it had been approved. I had a request for guardrails on the curve on 83, the steep curve across from Factory Drive. They said that had been approved sometime in spring, that they would be working on those. I had 2 other requests. It was not approved. I don't know why, but it was not approved. But has anybody called in or have any requests from the Clintwood district? If not, that's all, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Kaiser? Ms. Kaiser?
Anyone with road concerns? Larry, you got anything over your way? No.
Not really.
I've not had too many calls. I think I've returned in a couple on the web, on the website and stuff.
Excuse me. Mr. Peters?
Anyone from Sand Lake District have any road issues they'd like to bring forward? Donald, what about you? Nothing? Normally I ask Scotty. And yeah. Okay,
I guess that's it.
Anyone from the Wills District? See Joey here from VDOT. Joey, do you care to come up?
Certainly.
Big concern in my district, and it kind of adjoins Ms. Sluss's, is the River Road there, the guardrail project we approved through the Coal Road Committee.
Right.
Would you care to give just a little bit of update? I know you gave me one in email a few months ago, but
Yeah.
is there any, can you just maybe articulate to the public when we might see finality to that particular area?
Sure.
Because that's a major concern for all the county, but particularly
Right.
it's in my district and sort of adjoins Ms. Sluss's as well.
Okay, yeah, so Guardrail has, I mean, that's been a request in several areas. We've had some recent struggles with our contractors. We actually only have one guardrail contractor in the entire Bristol district at the moment. As far as I'm aware, they have all of the current contracts. So we are actually looking at potentially doing a state forces crew in the Wise residency. So we are looking into that to help us be a little bit more responsive to those needs. We have our current HITS contract, which covers damage to guardrail, and then the new installation contract that you referenced with the project there on Camp Creek or Brush Creek. That one is moving forward. We have to get the contracts for it into place. And as I said, we're also looking into possibly doing that with state forces if we can do a state forces crew to install those guardrails instead. So we're looking at multiple options. If we continue to have those issues with shortages in the contract workforce. That's kind of why we're looking at possibly utilizing state forces and investing in the equipment and stuff to do it ourselves. So that's kind of those two issues that we're looking at, and hoping to, timeline-wise, it would be likely in the spring sort of time frame. So after we get out of winter, that's when you'll likely see installation one way or the other. Hopefully we'll have favorable bids for a contract to do it that route, or and that we have bids. But if not, we're also at the same time pursuing a state forces crew to help meet those needs.
Well, I didn't mean to put, well, I guess I did mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
I know you're here for a different issue.
Well,
but
let me
that's
ask you this, I've
open the
reported
floodgates for you, you're
guardrails for
welcome, but I
several
appreciate
years.
that update.
Yeah, and we also, and I'm sorry to interrupt,
That's
I was just
all
gonna
right.
finish. The other thing, we did have some issues with getting the invoices. I've checked on that, and Mr. Barton, has the county received the invoice for the, okay.
We saw
And
not on that one.
Yeah, so I had checked about that earlier this month, trying to see
Well,
what.
as you know, there was a fatality there, there have been many fatalities, but
Right.
one recent, and it's very important to me to see that project come to fruition. And so that's why I asked that question here at this juncture,
Yeah.
Joey. I appreciate it.
Yeah, certainly, and we are also pursuing,
Y'all know Joey, by the way?
I do.
yeah.
I don't.
I think I've met everyone.
Sorry.
I think we met in the meeting we had, and
Yeah, so, and we are also pursuing, that particular route is a candidate for high-risk rural routes funding. So we are looking to try to extend guardrail improvements along
That'd be
that
great.
to other areas as well that need it, so.
Well, I was gonna tell you, I've reported guardrails for several years, and y'all haven't had any funding, is what I've always been told, there's no funding for guardrails.
So,
Do I need to report it?
I think it would be certainly beneficial if there's, like, if you
I've got them
still
written
have.
down at
Okay.
home, and, cause I've got them written down as they asked for them.
Okay.
So I'll resubmit some of those.
I know we've addressed a few with, like the HITS contract and stuff when we can. But generally, if it's new guardrail, we would be looking to either the coal committee to fund those, or, like I mentioned, that high-risk rural roads. If it's a road that would meet those criteria, we can look at that as potential funding source to meet those needs.
Mr. Chairman, I got a couple of questions.
On that, I thought we did put some money towards guardrail in.
Well, you submitted requests, but we've not had a Coal Road Committee meeting, I don't think.
No, I understand, I just wanted to bring that up, and
Yeah,
I
we're
know
gonna
like
spring
Steve
deal.
Branch is the one that I recall where they were asking, and I talked to you
Okay.
several years ago on it. Because it's,
Where's that at exactly?
it's off of 80 and it goes back in, it's, it travels along a ravine or whatever, or gorge.
Dangerous.
We
creek
probably
bed.
need to call a Coal Road meeting at the first of the year, I guess.
Yeah,
Then
it's
another-
getting about that time, so.
Another thing I wanted to mention, I got a call here the other day about, actually it came through a weird route. My wife's a nurse at the hospital, and one of her patients knew who I was and relayed it to her at work. But, they paved 80, Highway 80 out that direction, and they stopped before they got to B.
Okay,
And, you can see where they stopped before that, and it's, the thought was it was gonna go all the way to the county line. And the issue is, I drove there to verify something, because I had previously called in. There's a hole where it's fallen into the river, where, in the side of the pavement where it started to erode down into the riverbank. And that's been sitting there quite a while. I called it in previously a while back. So
Okay.
it's something that, if it had been repaved all the way, that would have been picked up too. But I mean, the point is, there's some other areas where they dropped off there. And I don't know if the project was intended to go to the county line. I'm not sure on that. That's what the folks understood.
yeah, the paving routes, they typically do it on a, it's basically a condition index basis. So sometimes they do, rather than go full length, they may
But in this
prioritize
case,
that in
and
a later
and
year.
it's not in the shoulder, it's actually partially into the road where it's,
Okay.
there's a hole there.
Okay,
And that's the thing.
okay. Yeah, sounds like it may be a potential
Well, I've got a
slide issue
similar
or something.
problem on what they call Rush Creek. I think it's 649. They repaved that, and then the pavement fell in. They've got barrels. If you go over there, you're going in the river,
Okay.
Cranes Nest River. I think they paved it and it just cracked.
There.
Okay.
Joy, right below my house is it's a drain pipe that's eroding is what it is. And they've come almost every year and just put pavement over top of it to fill in the hole.
Okay.
But it's gonna have to be, eventually that drain pipe needs to be
Replace.
replaced because one end is dropping and I've got a big hole there. I mean, it's just like a sinkhole with a,
Yeah, I know our crews have been very active about pipe replacement this year. Just for the county's awareness, we've been utilizing a lot more plastic pipe. The lifespan of that material is a lot better. We have a lot of acid soils, so galvanized pipe tends to, you know,
I think if they would just put an
or
extension
correct.
on this one would help because it's just about like this
Okay.
that's sunk in.
Yeah, and sometimes there's a deeper issue going on.
It
So
may
yeah,
be, yeah.
I'll certainly note that as well.
Thank you, Joy. I know you're on later on the
I
agenda
live
here.
at 8570 DC Caney Ridge.
DC,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask one question?
Yes, ma'am.
The road work that's been done on 63 with the new pavement on the side and the new guardrail, is that going to be on Route 63 as well up through, which is Dank Mountain Road? And I know there's a lot of places that is not as wide as the road is coming to Clintwood or going towards Hayside and Clinchco on the sides of the road, you know, through McClure and Nora and all that. But I was just wondering if any of that work may be done on that road as well.
I know with this project, it's Route 83, so that they basically started at Pound and went all the way through the county. They did, that is an HSIP project, Highway Safety Improvement project, and so I can check and see if they have, I know that was systemic, kind of a systemic improvement approach to help on a lot of our run off the road type crashes. So they did look at all the primaries and any of them that were potential where we could do that. I know there were several of those projects in the works, so I can check and see if 63 was one of them or not. I know 83 was for certain, and it's in, you know, underway right now, but I'll check on 63 if that's.
Yeah, 63 or Date Mountain Road.
Yeah.
Because there is a couple places where the guardrail is bent and pulled loose from the road and stuff from accidents, but, you
Okay.
know. Okay, thanks, Joey.
Joy, do you still do the road studies?
For like speed studies, I don't do those, but they'll come to me for a review initially, and I'll coordinate with traffic engineering in our Bristol district
I
office.
know I had
if
put
they
one in, and as
apply.
far as I know, they haven't done anything on that one.
Okay.
On Sandy Ridge?
It's on Caney Ridge
Well, I
also.
put one in for Rose Ridge. Has that been done?
Is that near the school? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one we recently did do, and there will be a new posting with it.
This one's there
Oh,
at John
really? It was
Kennedy.
55, wasn't it? And now they're going down to
Yeah,
one.
there was basically a gap where it was 55 between two existing, I think there was a 35 and a 30. So they did do a study on it. I believe it's going to be posted for 35.
That's good.
It's good, because it's a straight piece of road, but people fly.
Yeah, and there's a lot of homes and stuff on that stretch
there are
as
a lot of
well, so
homes
it's a
there.
lot of residential traffic. After they did the study, that's what they determined would be appropriate.
Thank you. You know why they have the traffic, I don't know what they call that thing, they put across the road to count traffic on Bice Ridge? Why do they have that there?
We are currently doing traffic counts in a number of places. Statewide, they do that by contract, so there's actually a firm that goes around
And
and
the
they do.
purpose of that is to do what?
It's so that we know our average daily traffic, so they do
I thought about
that.
running over it about 10 or 15 times.
That will probably increase it, so. But yeah, they have been collecting those right now, so that's likely where it came from, is our contract that we do the traffic counts. Yeah. And I think they're roughly, I won't quote that, I'm not certain on the time frame, but I'm wanting to say about every 3 years is what they aim for the secondary routes.
So I should run over it 10 or 15 times.
Well, obviously, Joey, we appreciate you answering those
Thank you,
questions.
Yeah,
Joey.
no problem.
We're inundated with road issues and.
Oh, yeah,
it's,
yeah.
You know,
And
one of
as
the frustrating
always,
things job we have, I think, to me,
yeah.
is because we don't have very little ability to do anything except send you emails all day.
And
which I do.
actually, we miss VDOT coming to our meetings because it gave us a one-on-one.
Oh, yeah. And
And
I
they
think,
stopped that several years ago.
yeah, we are trying to, like, whenever we have resolutions and things like this that are on the agenda, I'm sure there'll be smart scale and things like that. I'll definitely be in attendance for those meetings. And then, if there's ever anything that you need us to attend, myself, Paul, Jackie, one of us will be glad to attend anytime that you all need.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely, we're ready to partner with you all on anything that we need, and I understand the requests that come in and stuff. I did want to throw out, just, you always remember 1-800-4ROAD, FORE, 4ROAD is a good resource. That if it's just a basic maintenance need, that's the most efficient way to get it directly to our area headquarters. And then if they haven't received any response on those, and we can follow up and check on those. But that helps. And I think a lot of times that also keeps it. I know sometimes when we have the requests come from the Board of Supervisors, and we're having to go back to you all, and then we have to get the contact information for that individual to go back. But if they call it in directly, then we have their contact info directly from that request, and we can go straight to them if we have any questions. So sometimes that helps as well. If they want to call in a issue or request, that's the most direct line to do that, so. All right.
Thank you, Joey. We'll get
Thank
back
you.
to you here in a few
Yep.
minutes. Thank you. That'll take us to item number 10 now, our public comment portion of the meeting. If anyone is in attendance that would like to make a public comment and address the board, you may do so now. And the phone line is open as well, 276-333-0357. If anyone's in attendance that would like to speak, you may do so now. Read the phone number one more time, 276-333-0357. Moser, any calls?
First time we haven't had a public comment, isn't it?
Pleasure of the board, I'm fine with closing it, It's whatever y'all want to do.
I'll make a motion, we close it, and if anyone calls in, we'll still take it.
Any calls, Mr. Mullin? Any other thoughts on that? Do y'all want to move on or wait?
That's fine, that's fine.
Yeah.
So we have a motion to close, is there a second?
I'll second.
All those, any other discussion? One last time for calls, no calls. One last time to the audience. All those,
Here's one.
okay, we'll table that. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Mullins.
Okay.
Whoever, yes, you're on, with the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors, and you may make your public remarks right now.
Okay, my name is Renita Wallace, and I live in the Blowing Rock section, and I was just calling to say that I appreciate all the work and effort that's been done for the roads in our area. South of the mountain, Blowing Rock, and even the Skid Rock roads are much improved.
Ms. Walsh, you wouldn't even begin to know what that means to me. I thought you were calling the fuss, but I appreciate you doing that very, very much. I've drove Joey and them crazy. You have a Merry Christmas? Well, thank you.
Yes,
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Walsh.
thank you.
So we had a motion and a second on the floor. Do you want to wait just another moment, or do y'all want to go ahead?
I think we go ahead, and if
Okay.
anyone calls in, we'll go ahead and
No
take it.
calls. All those in favor of closing public comment, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. That takes us to item number 11. There are some,
10,
well, I think,
Dave.
no, we bumped everything down, right?
Okay. We're still back to 10.
Oh, okay, so we're then, I kind of moved all mine, so we're back to 10 now, right?
Yes.
That's right, I'm sorry. Item 10, appointments. Larry, do you want to tell us what's open and what's?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. First off, in item 10A in your packets, we have an appointment for Regional Industrial Facilities Authority. This is with the Lonesome Pine RIFA. We have Mitzi Sykes, who currently just finished her 4-year term as of December 31st. So that position is open for reappointment or consideration of another name.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, since we're going to bring Mr. Phillips on in January, I'd like to appoint Mr. Phillips, and we've contacted him, and he's willing to serve. And I would like to place Mr. Bud Phillips's name in for that appointment.
I would second that. Is there any other discussion?
I think that's good.
All those in favor of appointing Mr. Phillips to this authority, please say aye. Aye as well. And then we go to item B, 10B. It looks like we have 2 vacancies in the Behavioral Health Board. I'll just start in the order of the letter. I believe there's a vacancy for Ms. Willis's district.
I've checked with my sister Shirley, and she says she will serve another 4-year term for me. It's hard to get anybody to serve on these boards. And she says she'll do another 4-year for me.
You're making a motion for Ms. Shirley
Yes, I
Mullins?
do. Mhm.
I'll second Ms. Shirley Mullins' motion. Any other discussion on Ms. Willis's nomination and motion? All those in favor of Ms. Shirley Mullins serving another term for the Kennedy District appointee, please say aye. Aye as well. Takes us to Ms. Sluss.
I would like to appoint Cheryl Puckett Estep.
We did.
She's been a teacher for 42 years. She also had her youngest son killed by a drunk driver, so she understands mental anguish. So I would like to appoint her to that board.
I'll
Mr.
second her
Chairman.
appointment.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any other discussion
She'll be good on
on Ms.
that.
Sluss's nomination? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye as well. That takes us to item number 11, selection for this board's chair for year 2022. Floor is open for nominations.
I make a motion that we appoint Mr. Josh Evans again for 4-year term.
And I'll second that.
1-year term, I'm sorry.
And I'll second that.
I'll make a-
I've seconded, I second it. So Ms. Willis, how do you vote?
I got a motion,
vote aye.
a substitute motion.
Well, I've already seconded it. You can't make a substitute motion after it's been seconded.
Well, I
Yeah,
tried to,
vote.
and you interrupted me, and I thought you could.
Ms. Sturgman? Ms. Sturglair?
Well, technically for nominations, you can take nominations from the floor. There's not a required second under Robert's Rules of Order for nominations. And then the nominations are voted on in the order the nomination was.
Okay.
So It's different than substitute motions is typically the process.
So the proper parliamentary procedure would be to take the first motion then, I guess? You know, in this
Well, would
context.
be- Well, there can be multiple nominations, but there would be a vote on the first nomination
Okay.
in that order.
All right, so we'll take another, then we'll reopen the floor for nominations.
And I would like to nominate Peggy Kaiser
Okay,
for chairman.
very good. So are there any other nominations? Do we want to close? Do we want to vote to close the
Does he have to
nominations?
get a
or do I-
second?
Sorry.
Does he have to get a
Well,
second?
Mr. Sturgill said you didn't need a second for the nomination.
It's not required to have a second for nomination.
Oh, okay.
So here's how this is what's gonna happen. And I think just so we're all on the same page, there's two nominations. Mr. Sturgill's recommendation is to vote on the nominations in the order in which they were received, right? Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So my question now is, do I need to be completely formal and appropriate, a motion to close the nominations, or can we just close the nominations?
You can just close the nomination.
Is everybody comfortable closing the nominations? All right, we'll close the nominations. Ms. Willis, how do you vote on your motion?
I vote aye.
Ms. Sluss?
I have prayed and prayed about this and still I'm torn. But I stayed up to 3 o'clock last night praying about it, and I first have told some people that I would support Josh, and I do support Josh in that I think he's done a good job, and he's had it for 2 years. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk or not, am I?
Sure.
Okay, and he's done a good job, and and got better and better, and I'm very proud of him. But at the same time, I think that we need to give Peggy an opportunity to be the chairman, and Peggy has expressed to me and to others that she thinks because she doesn't have a degree that makes it, and I don't think you have to have a degree to be chairman or co-chairman. I mean, not co-chairman, but vice chairman. She is very intelligent, and she has a great grasp of bookkeeping and so forth. And although I truly admire Josh, and I think he's a good public speaker and so forth, but my heart tells me that Josh is a young man. Peggy's pretty young too. But my heart tells me, and I have to do what I think my heart says and what I think my God wants me to do. And I'm going to not vote for Josh, but I'm going to vote for Peggy.
So it's a no. It'd be Ms. Kaiser,
No.
Mr. Peters.
No.
And then yes for me, so that motion fails. So now we have the motion for Ms. Kaiser, Ms. Willis,
No.
Ms. Sluss,
Yes.
Ms. Kaiser,
Yes.
Mr. Peters.
Yes.
No for me. So Ms. Kaiser will be the chairman for 22, and we have the floor open for the vice chairman for 22.
I would like to nominate you, Josh, if you want to do that.
Are there any other motions for vice chair? Any other motions? Ms. Willis, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Sluss?
Aye.
Ms. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Yes for me as well, so I'll be the vice chairman. All right, let's move on. Item number 13, resolutions. Joey, you're back on the floor. And Larry, I don't know if you want to make any opening remarks about what's going on with this.
I just appreciate Mr. Mullins coming out to the meeting tonight to explain this in more detail. I think he'd probably give it more justice than I can, so thank you, Joey.
Sure. I guess the board has the resolutions and everything before them. I had a chance to review those. So basically, what the two resolutions are, one is for Route 807, Rita's Lane Edition. This was a project that was funded through the Coal Committee and went through the SSAR process to become a project that would be accepted into VDOT system for maintenance. So that project is completed. This is basically just to formally accept it into VDOT system for maintenance, and that's what this resolution is for. The second one is the abandonment of Highway 649. It's actually was a project adjustment. DC Caney Ridge, there was a section of it that was realigned, I guess it was a couple years back. And so this is basically to take the old section that is still going to be maintained and redesignate it as 949. And so it's just a formal process, once again, to accept that in and to also make adjustment to the old road to correct VDOT system for mileage and maintenance.
Joy, I only have one question. That's my district, and I'm very familiar with it. I was hundreds of times during this process. Does that mean that you all will maintain the snow removal for that road also?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, so routes.
That was the only question I had, because there's several houses, as you can see,
Right.
around through there.
Yeah.
That it would just end up a private road if y'all didn't maintain the
Yeah.
snow removal.
Yeah, correct.
So you're gonna name it 949?
Yes, that's correct. It will be redesignated as 949. It will still be in the secondary system for maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my only question.
Where is that, Shelby?
Right at the
It's-
Wise County line, you should drive up through there.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Well, it's
What's the
probably
name
within a
of it?
half a mile.
911.
It's Caney Ridge Road.
Oh, it's on, okay.
Yeah,
That-
it's the main
DC
road.
Caney Ridge.
That was one thing I did bring up to Mr. Barton as well, was the, I don't know if that requires like a E911 redesignation or anything where, with the change of the routes, but that
We'll
may
have
be
to get
something.
with Cassie, I
Cassie
guess,
on that one,
yeah.
so I'll follow
Yeah.
up with her.
Yeah,
Because it basically, it cut through a curve to straighten out a stretch of that road. And like I said, I think it was completed
That's
a
what
couple
you
of
need to
years
drive up
ago.
through there. It's really nice.
Is that
Yeah, I
out
don't
there?
know where that's at. It's where that really bad curve used to be.
Yeah.
Is that out there
Yeah.
close to Pippin's Chapel?
Pippins is in Wise County.
It's not far.
So
It
it's back.
starts there almost at Pine Grove Church.
Oh,
Yeah, it's within
That was a long
roughly
time ago they
half a
did
mile.
all that.
It's been 2 years ago.
That's why I said this, it's part of, we're trying to make improvements to where things like this don't get missed, but sometimes some of our project, well, I've seen some 50 years ago that didn't get properly adjusted, so
Well,
this
you
will
know, I
keep
saw
that from
Wise
being an
County
issue later.
scraping that road last year during the snow.
Yeah,
And I saw Wise County around there doing that one, and I wondered why Wise County was doing that one.
okay, well, like VDOT?
It was VDOT
Headquarters, okay.
from
Yeah,
Wise County, and
And-
they were around
that would,
this section.
yeah, that would make sense because
I
actually.
guess they need to turn around.
Yeah, to turn around, it would, they would basically just come into the county a little bit, and it's kind of the same thing.
That's what I thought, that
Yeah.
maybe they were just gonna turn around and use that road because it comes back into the main road.
Yeah, it makes it easier for
But there
snow
was a
removal.
Wise County contractor, I guess it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it will, they will continue to have snow removal and maintenance of the road as normal, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have a motion for?
That was my only question on that.
Do we have a motion for the first resolution?
That's Rhonda's district.
It's my district, it's out where I live, and I make a motion that we designate that as Route 807.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Is there a motion for the second resolution?
I'll make a motion for the second resolution to change that old road to 949.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
As well. And that takes us to item 14. Mr. Barton, thank you, Mr. Mullins, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 14 is going to be in the supplemental. There's an item 14 in your packet, but in the supplemental is the actual resolution that we didn't have at the time the packet was prepared. And of course, as you'll recall, back in October, we approved a resolution concerning this school construction to allow them to proceed with the PPEA process. Our next step in that process would be to allow them to move forward with their interim agreement with Quisenberries. And that's what this resolution here is doing. It says, be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors authorize the Dixon County School Board to execute the proposed interim agreement with Quisenberries dated the 29th day of December 2021. And 2, the county administrator and county attorney are authorized to work with Skanska and representatives of the school board regarding finalizing the design of the proposed additional classroom wing with the goal of constructing the same in a timely and efficient manner consistent with the existing budget. And 3, the above authorization is explicitly conditioned upon the school board's representation and commitment that no additional funds will be required from the Board of Supervisors to complete this project. So basically, this interim agreement is $264,500 paid by the schools out of their construction funds. They're using their ESSER 3 funding. They've got permission from the state to use that to construct this new wing. And at this time, it's not definite the number of classrooms they're gaining, but that's the purpose of the design agreement with Quisenberry. They're going to try to make as many classrooms as they possibly can within their budget. And of course, most importantly with us, it's not going to require any additional funding from us. So this is just one step in our required procedures that we have to do to allow them to move forward according to Virginia code. So I'll try to answer any questions that anybody has on this.
They have made statement in our packet and stuff that they will not be requiring any more funding.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
Item
they
number
have.
3 in the resolution explicitly states that. So
It does.
Yeah.
Any motions or questions?
I make a motion that we go ahead with that and allow them to do the additions.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Do we need a roll call vote because aren't they wanting that on the back page?
we can roll call as long as everybody's an aye. We can do it that way. We're roll call.
Okay, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Do what now? So what?
Well, there's a signatory,
There's a
which is
signature
pointed
on the
out,
back page.
signatory by each
On
member.
that page that he gave us.
We just have to sign it.
So why does that necessitate a roll call vote?
Oh, we have to vote, okay.
Because you gotta, the clerk has to sign how we voted, that we was in attendance and how we voted.
Well, that's what we just did, didn't we?
Yeah. Okay.
But are you saying we have to do it individually, Teresa?
You all voted yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know
Yeah,
what.
so that was right, yeah.
We voted yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Excuse me.
she's seeing the way they put it together, not everyone comes in like that. So that's why she had to.
All right, so item number 15. Are we ready to move on?
Yes.
So Larry, do you want to discuss the health insurance?
Sure, and item 15, it's the next item in your supplemental packet. And of course, Ms. Willis has participated, Mr. Mullins is in the crowd, participated in the conversations we've had on the insurance committee recently with Mr. Green and his firm. Basically, we're looking at a renewal without changing any current terms or conditions in our policy. And it's pretty well a level renewal. It's about $3,000 for the year less anticipated than what we're currently paying. You can see some of the premiums go up a few dollars and some go down a few dollars, but we're just asking the board for consideration of approval, staying everything the same as it is now with our current insurance carrier, our current benefits, deductibles, out-of-pockets, and premiums, so. And I'll answer any questions anyone has on that, or Shelby, if you have anything you'd like to add from our meetings.
No, I think it's basically what we got used to having. And I would like to make a motion that we go ahead and renew our insurance.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Is this your recommendation, Mr. Barton?
It is, I'm sorry, yes, that is my recommendation as well.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. As well. Takes us to item 16, Judicial Center sign. I don't know who asked for this.
Mr. Chair, if I could
Yeah.
give an update, provide an update. At our last meeting, we considered this and the board decided to table this matter. I was asked to reach out to Mr. Roy Mullins, who as one of the tasks you'd assigned me to talk to him about the alternate sign that we had. In your packet under number 16, Ms. Willis had a good suggestion, I think, of adding the 911 address to the sign, and we have a couple renditions of the freestanding sign with that. I took that to Mr. Mullins. I visited him last week at his home. I took these to him and shared these with him, and he still desires that we put the letters on the building itself, to attach the letters to the building. And also, we followed up with Bristol Sign because this quote was quite old. It had came in back in the summer, I think, and they said they would still honor the price, but they wanted to let us know that the first of the year that Gemini, who's the manufacturer of the letters, are going to have a price increase, but they do not know how much. But the quote is still valid from Bristol Sign of $5,885.79, and then with Jerry Signs on the freestanding sign, that quote is still the same at $3,328.67. Mr. Mullins had some concerns about the freestanding sign. He said it'd be something that has to be mowed around, things like that, but the building is landscaped around the edge of the building. It could be installed around the edge of the building. So I'll answer any of the questions anyone has on that.
I drove by there and there is a sign posted out there.
No kidding.
But it is, I think where the
It's hard to
confusion
read from
comes,
the road.
it's hard to see and the confusion comes, the building next to it says courthouse. So people are gonna assume that's it, but we know we don't wanna change that because it's a historical thing. So,
Go ahead.
when I spoke last time, this, to me, was a monumental achievement. Some folks, even me included, weren't that happy at the time it happened, but when I got into office, I realized, boy, we finally built something with our own money. And he couldn't have got it done any other way. He tried for 10 years to get help from the Board of Supervisors and got no help whatsoever, and he wasn't the type of individual that would expect this. So don't think that this is coming from him, because we had a lot of talks and discussion, Shelby and all of us did, when this first came out.
I was under injunction to build it, and my
Yeah, but-
injunction wasn't lifted until the day of the opening.
I understand, but it's because he wasn't getting what he needed for security out of the Board of Supervisors for about 10 years. So I look back and I said, well, boy, this is great, because we went ahead and rehabbed the old courthouse, and now we got a nice place for the sheriff's department and the other offices. We started using this building, and that's where we moved the other offices. So to me, it really moved the county forward, I think. And I think we owe it to him, and I think it would be good to honor him in that. So that's where I stand. I'll make a motion that we approve the letters on the building.
Mr. Chair, there is a sign. It's the same letters over the door. The entrance to the building has the same thing on it.
That's right.
When you enter the building, so it is marked.
Oh, I personally like the standing one with the 911 number on it.
So your motion is for, which is the invoice, the 3,300?
Mr. Peters made would be the $5,885.
For the letters on the
Yeah,
building.
and then you'd have to drill into the building to put
I'm
the
just trying to be
lettering
clear on
up.
his motion. So that's his motion, is to spend
$5,000.
$5,885.79 of taxpayer money on a sign that already has a sign. So is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any other discussion?
Is these smaller signs, or is that written on both sides?
It's
Would
one-
it be set this way where you see it coming and going, or would it be set in long ways of the building that
It
you?
is one side, and it's intended to be placed right in front of the building,
Oh,
like in the landscape area, right up the building.
It'd be easier to see
Larger and
there.
easier to read than the small sign that's there now, so.
And I just seen them other signs the other day too.
Well, I kind of
I would like
I
to make a
remember seeing
substitute
them before,
motion
but I
that we do
forgot.
the cheaper one.
I think there's been a second already, but we're still in the discussion stage. Mr. Sturgill, I mean, it would
Did
be
you have a
appropriate.
second for it?
Yeah, Ms. Sluss
Yeah, I
seconded
second
it.
it.
Ms. Sturgill, it'd be appropriate to take a vote on this, correct? I just don't
Or
want
can you do a
to
secondary
be accused of being a bully
substitute
and
motion on
making a
this?
vote
It's
that's
not
not
a
appropriate.
nomination, I guess you can.
Mr. Sturgill, will be appropriate to take a vote after the second, correct? Mr. Sturgill?
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we've got a motion and a second, and then there was an attempt to make a substitute. My understanding is we would need to take a vote on the motion and second first.
Correct, if
Yes.
you're in the motion second stage, then that's where.
I
the
just
vote
wanted
would
your
take place.
approval before I did it. All right. And so we're in discussion still. I just think
Well,
that,
I can tell you, we have this sign at our church. It's been there for years and years and years, and we painted it one time.
but we've got two signs. So my understanding was this come before the board as a more of a necessity, meaning that people were confused.
I hate
Which I
to
have
drill
had-
into the building.
I've had literally probably 1,000 clients since this building's been open, and nobody has ever not known where the courthouse is. So, but your motion was more of a symbolic.
Well, it
Yours is
was-
not a
it was.
necessity. You're not coming from a place of where it's
No, I
a
think,
necessity.
I
It's
think
a-
there is confusion, I do on
By
that.
who?
I think there could be,
By
because you got
attorneys?
one building
Who
that
uses
says
that
the
building?
courthouse.
Attorneys? and
Typically, if
litigants?
you're smart, you got a day in court, you better make sure you know.
Well, that's
you're
what I'm
doing.
saying, so who's
But,
confused?
but the thing is, there's another purpose I see there too.
Well,
It's-
so who's confused about it?
Oh, I think that.
Who has come to you
I
and
think
said?
Ron
look at
was
the
saying he was
outside.
wanting to do this to honor,
Well, okay, that's what I'm trying to get at,
Hanover.
what the difference is.
which
If-
I do too, because I think Henry took a lot of flack over that. And I'll be honest, when I first heard about it, I said, I think it's nonsense.
And I said something last meeting, and this actually happened. I got a call from the Dickinson Star fishing me for what my response was about this whole project stealing money from the school, and it was a bunch of hogwash. It was, and I regretted that I even shared my thoughts on it, because I would have loved to wrote an editorial back on it.
Well, I did.
Because it was coming from the Southwest delegation, because they were trying to explain to all the Republicans here in Dickinson County why they didn't reappoint Judge Vano.
All right, so we've got a motion and second. I just don't feel like that this county in any way has the money on a $24 million annual budget to just spend $6,000 when you got two signs already. But Ms.
Mr. Chairman,
Will,
I withdraw my second and I'll go with, can I do that?
I never seen that before.
Yeah, you
I
can
honestly
withdraw a
don't know.
second.
Mr.
Sturgill, can
Sturgill,
I withdraw my second?
I honestly have no clue.
Yes, you can.
I mean, technically speaking, I've never seen that done, but at the same time, I think that it probably can, at this stage.
Well, I'll rely on our attorney.
I'll withdraw my second and I'll go with.
All right, well, let's wait just a second. Let's just clarify the record here. We had a motion by Mr. Peters and a second by Ms. Luss. In the discussion stage before the vote, there was a withdrawal of the second. So now, I guess, just to be totally clear, Mr. Peters' motion is still on the floor. I'll reopen the floor for a prospective second for a moment here. Is there a second to Mr. Peters' motion? All right, that motion would fail. Now the floor is back open for any other motions on this issue.
I would like to make a motion that we do the one with the sign,
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
with the 911 number on it.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Chair, if I could ask for clarification, 1, 2, or 3 on the,
You understand what Ms. Martin's asking?
Which
Oh,
sign do you,
there's 3 options. If we
there's
take the
3
top one's number
options.
1, the
I
middle
think
one's number 2, and the bottom's
one
number
looks
3.
good. That 2 looks,
I think 2.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think 2 looks good. I sort of like it better than I do that circle.
So my motion is to go with number 2 on the lettering.
I'll
Thank you, Ms.
second that.
Willis.
Any further discussion? Ms. Willis,
I vote aye.
Ms. Sluss, Ms. Kaiser,
Yes.
Mr. Peters.
Aye.
No for me. So the motion would carry to buy a sign for
3,000.
how much?
$2,942, isn't it?
It's $3,328.67.
We didn't even know how much. 3,000, how much?
332867. 332867.
Is that tax and
The
installation?
tax will come off of that. They do quote tax, but it'll be
$148
$148.
I think that was good, really.
About $3,180 some dollars.
$3,180.
The numbers there, if they want to get in their phone
Yeah.
to
That's
find it.
turnkey
That's right.
installed, $3,180.
All right, that takes us to item 17, scheduling a American Rescue Funds workshop meeting.
No,
It's on our
we
other
got,
business.
no, we got, oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm looking at this and I thought that
15B.
fell in with
It
that. I'm
says
sorry.
schedule
You're right.
a
ARPA
There,
meeting,
we're kind of on
You're right.
that
Workshop.
because of the
workshop.
Mr. Chairman, we had discussed previously when we kind of put a stop on, we kind of put a hold on the ARPA funds because we received some new information, some new guidelines. We held our request till the first of the year, and we were going to schedule a workshop in January. So if we could come up with a date, maybe mid to late January to look at that, I would really like for the board to come in and do a workshop, not necessarily to consider additional requests at this time, but to look at where our remaining funds are and to devise a budget for the remainder of our funds to work out of on that.
Do you have a date in mind?
I do not. I was open to your schedules, whatever the board's pleasure, so.
What's your court schedule, Josh? I guess you,
January 27th.
That would be fine with me anytime.
day after
Do we
the
need
board
to-
We
meeting.
have what will be early.
By any time that day's works for
Yeah,
me.
that's the day before the board, next board
We
meeting.
gotta come on plateau.
I don't have a
meeting that
calendar.
night.
All right, well, let's move it.
27th on.
Thursday.
Is there any reason it needs to be before our regular meeting in January?
No, not necessarily.
The other thing, have we heard back on any of the
I can't
grants?
come the 18th and maybe
I spoke with
the
Mr. Kendrick today, and he's going to follow up on
Okay.
that and get some information.
We got time.
I'm up, that's the best day for me in the
The
timeline Mr.
27th, if
Martin
we're,
said.
you know, our meeting's at 6, right? So it's doable for us. And I say us because Shelby's on the same commitment.
The only other, I could do that Friday morning. Do you want to do Friday morning?
the 21st,
The 28th?
28th,
I can, 28th's good.
28th or 21st, either
28th
one's
at
fine
10.
with me.
Okay.
28th at 10. We good with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
That'll work.
All right, that takes us to item 17B, and I'm going to turn the chair over to Ms. Kaiser, allow her to get a little practice. And I'm going to make a motion that we appropriate $3,328.67, which is the amount of money that we spent on a sign to the Dickinson County Foster Care program. And the goal of that is for recreation. And my thought is that the foster parents of Dickinson County, we have approximately 17-ish children in foster care. That would be almost a Dollywood pass for each. I'm going to ask the social workers to poll the foster parents and see what they would want to do. But it would be a motion to appropriate $3,328.67, which is the amount that we spent on a sign to the Dickinson County Foster Care Program for recreation.
Mr. Chairman, I just talked to Faye Ramey today, and she said they had 12 in foster care.
My last count was a little more than that.
Well,
So it was 12.
she ought to know. I talked to her, she said they had 12.
Well, then that's more, that will be something good. Maybe they can take their whole family then to Dollywood.
I got a question though. You brought this up last month when the sign came up, and then you're obviously tying it to this sign. Do we have an official request from foster care
No.
for this?
I'm making the.
Aren't you the lawyer for that board, and you have
For
to?
the board? No, I'm not lawyer for the board.
You're the lawyer for that operation, social
I wouldn't receive
services.
any money from this. Is for foster children.
But I mean, anytime we vote on anything for social services, you abstain.
This isn't for social services. This is for the foster care.
But isn't that
children.
part of social?
So you're voting
services?
no for the, you want to vote for a
No.
sign and not the foster care children?
No, I'm not saying that.
Well, then how do you-
I'd like to see what it is first. I'm
Well,
all
I'm
for
telling you, it'd be a
children.
check for the foster care children of Dickinson
I
County
don't
to
think
use for
legally you can do
recreation.
that,
Mr.
Paul.
Chairman, doesn't,
Why legally can't you do that?
Because of what he just said. You work for the foster children as a lawyer.
So how would that conflict me out
Well,
of?
you recuse yourself from everything else when it comes to the DSC.
But I do wanna.
Well, making
No,
money, this
I'm
is for
saying
the
that,
children
Josh.
specifically, a specific
For a
appropriation.
ticket to go to
Or
Dollywood.
for whatever they wanna use it for.
Josh, I'm all for it, but let's have them officially request it.
Well, I've got a
And
motion.
Mr. Chairman, does the state and the DSS not take care of foster care
Well,
children?
they do, but this will be from us. This will be for a specific gift from us to them.
Well, I mean, that's the wrong reason to do it, just
The wrong
because we
reason to do it.
voted for a
Just because you're
sign.
upset because we voted for the sign.
I'm not upset, I'm just trying
Yes, you
to,
are,
if you can spend
Josh.
money for a sign that's
You're
unnecessary,
upset and you're
then you
trying
can
to
send
get back
money.
at us. Yes, you are.
so you're gonna vote no
Yes,
to
I'm
a
gonna
gift
vote
for
no.
foster children,
Oh, goodness,
okay?
don't tell me
So
about
yes,
foster children.
so yes, so your
I
vote's
adopted a
yes,
foster
excuse me, I'm
child.
speaking.
Don't
Your
you-
vote is yes
No,
for
my
a
vote
sign
is
that's
no.
unnecessary.
My vote is no.
$3,300.
Unless they can
and
show
your
us
vote's no,
that they
okay.
need this money for that.
I make a
yes.
substitute
So my motion's
motion.
on the floor.
I make a substitute motion, we table this and let Mr. Barton go research this and get official request for this from them.
So there's a
I asked Faye,
substitute.
I said, what do
I don't
you
think we
need?
got
I
the
said,
money to do it.
what, I asked Faye, I said, foster care, they play, if they visit, the foster children sometimes come to visit their biological parents there. And they have a room, I assume, where they visit their biological parents. They also have a playground
And they
there.
were gonna do a playground, I don't know if they
Yeah,
ever got
well, they
it.
do, that was for Longsforth. They still got swings, a walking track, and
Well, if I
something
may
else.
clarify, what I'm asking, my motion, which has been substituted, so it's off the floor now, but my motion was to appropriate from Dickinson County Board of Supervisors a gift to foster children for the foster parents or the Dickinson
They
County
get
Department of
paid.
Social Service to use for, and that's how you vote, it's a specific line item vote for the benefit of the children. So whatever the foster families would want to do for it, take them to Dollywood, that's an idea. Buy them a video game, buy them a movie, take them to the movies, whatever it may be. If you can spend this amount of money, by the taxpayer money, not your money. Because if we come to Rhonda or we come to Ron and ask for $3,300,
You don't know,
it'd be
I
no.
might give a donation for that.
You would spend $3,300 for
No,
a sign?
I spent
that's- We've already got a sign?
$3,300. No,
You've already got a sign on your house.
Second.
I say you need a
I
new
do
sign.
have a sign on my house.
Okay.
Official.
I do have
I'm
a
all
sign
for it.
like, on my house, yes, I do.
So if I come and say, well, I don't see the numbers, well, let's buy a new sign. You gonna spend $3,300 of your money?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
What I'm saying is, do you treat the taxpayers' money like your money?
I certainly do.
Okay.
And I believe that we did right by putting this sign up for Mr. Henry Vanover.
So it's a symbolic.
Who was a wonderful judge and and is a tribute to our county. And you're just ticked off because that passed. And then you're bringing up everybody, don't tell me about foster children.
I'm not telling you nothing.
Yes,
I'm
you
asking you to
are.
vote to give them something.
No, I vote not to. I
Well,
think
let's
Shelby
not do
made a
that.
good point. They get paid.
Just a minute, with Josh having relinquished that to me, we have a secondary substitute motion on the floor made by Ron.
Yeah, let's table it and let Mr. Barton go check and get official request. I wanna know where the money's gonna be used.
Okay,
and
that's
stuff.
fine with
I'm
me.
for it.
So do we need a second then for his substitute?
Yeah.
Does anybody want to second his?
I'll second.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Ms. Slush can second.
We have a moving second to, on Ron's substitute motion to table this issue till next month, till Mr. Barton gets an official request for donation. All in favor, use the way of voting aye.
Yes.
Okay, anyone opposed? And I also vote aye.
I vote no.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
So I guess
I
that
don't know
takes
why we
us,
have to table it. We had nothing.
Takes us back to
takes us to 18.
18.
I don't like tabling stuff either,
Oh,
as you know.
are you taking the
Yeah.
chair back?
Yeah, I guess,
Yeah, I
so we
think
got
we
a
have
closed
I give it
section,
back to him.
portion of the meeting. Does anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that,
That we go into closed session pursuant to code section 2.2-2037, 11A1 and 5A, section 2.2-3711A1, personnel, 1, all departments. B, section 2.2-3711A5, Economic Development 1 update.
I will
Does that cover
second,
everything we need? Okay.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Well, we'll now be in closed session. right, we're now coming out of closed session. I entertain a motion to certify matters discussed in closed session.
I make a motion, we only discuss those issues that we previously went into closed session for.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Willis, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Sluss?
Yes.
Ms. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yeah.
Me as well. Are there any motions coming out of closed session?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we hire Mr. Richard Thacker as a part-time employee for emergency management.
And I would ask that Mr. Barton give a brief recommendation and summary as to what's going on with this
Sure.
motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It would be my recommendation as well that we hire Mr. Thacker on a part-time basis. He's been our full-time emergency management coordinator for several years, and he's recently accepted a position as lieutenant at the sheriff's office. By Virginia code, we're required to have this role as someone as an emergency coordinator, and on a part-time basis, we receive a grant, a $15,000 a year grant that's a 50% match. So we get $7,500 for spending $15,000, and we could use this grant to pay Mr. Thacker for this required position. And then, in addition to his duties at the sheriff's office, he would assume the duties under emergency management. Some of the trivial stuff like generator maintenance, things like that, we're going to try to pull off and move that over to maintenance. But he would. We would send his Tahoe to the sheriff's department to be used as a sheriff's department vehicle, and he could use it for emergency services and fill this role on a part-time basis. It would be an annual savings to the county of about $62,000. So I'll entertain any questions.
Is that your recommendation, Mr. Barton?
It would be my recommendation to make that move, yes.
Is there a second to Ms. Willis's motion?
I second that.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna vote no. So it's 4-1. Any other motions coming out of closed session?
I would like to, you want to make yours? Go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to hire Bud Phillips of council for special assignments and to assist the county with economic development issues on a part-time basis.
I second that motion.
Any other discussion? Larry, you want to elaborate just a little bit on that?
Sure.
What that specifically is going to entail?
Right, with Mr. Phillips, bringing him back on a part-time basis to help mainly with economic development under the umbrella of the county. He has a lot of connections, a lot of experience through his years of service as an attorney, a judge, a legislator. I think that would be an asset for the county, especially in times like this with all the monies available from COVID, the CARES monies that are out there. He would work with me. Ms. Reba would work with him, assist him as she did previously. Bud and I would have to meet next week to kind of see exactly how we would set things up, how we would do it. But I think that'd be a big plus for the county to have him fill that role on an interim basis, part-time.
Be our economic development czar, basically.
Yes, basically.
Sounds good. So I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Thank you, Larry. All those, there's already been a motion. Yep. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. As well. Any other motions coming
I
out of closed
have
session?
one more motion, or two more motions, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion that we pay the clerk that sits here during our regular monthly meetings, $100 supplement. And also for the technology person that sits here, $100 per meeting for our regular monthly meeting.
And is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
And I support this motion primarily because of Mr. Mullins behind us. I know he has a young family, and I have a young family, and it's extremely difficult working till 9 p.m. on a weekday. And if your spouse works as well like his does, I think in addition to the comp time, I think $100 supplement for each meeting that he's working. Of course, this is an early meeting, frankly, for us at 9 p.m., but I think it's more than earned, so I'm going to support it. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
As well. Any other motions?
I have one more motion I'd like to make, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a motion to give the county administrator the authority to negotiate up to $2,500 for a medical bill for a Clintwood Fire Department member that was injured in the line of duty.
And I'll second that motion. Any further discussion on that motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. As well. Any other motions coming out of closed session?
I have no more.
Hearing none, that would take us to item 21 on our agenda, scheduling of a peddler itinerant merchant ordinance. Did everyone receive Mr. Sturgill's email with a model
Yes.
of that ordinance?
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Sturgill about that?
Yeah, I do. I'm
Excuse me.
curious, this is gonna affect in town and throughout the county? And it'll be,
Well, it depends. The way it's currently written is that the jurisdictions for within Dickinson County. But as we all know, under 58.13711, there's limitations as far as doubling the license tax without town permission if the town already has one. So that would be a good question as far as do the towns currently have one, and then being able to proceed from there. If
Well,
they don't, then yes, it would.
And that's something we can ask before we vote on it.
no, but I wanna make sure that the folks, cause we're gonna have to advertise this. And I wanna make sure they understand who's all impacted, cause what I read, we're after, and thank you for the email, Josh, cause I did have someone tell me that same thing. That happened a few months they heard about ago, where a lady was approached with a free Walmart card and all that, but, first thing I'll say to that, nothing's ever free.
Yeah.
There's some hitch that'll come, but the thing is, we're also gonna be affecting these guys that do the, flea markets and stuff, I think, too, by this, aren't we, or?
No, it
No,
was
it's just
exempt.
door to door, so if you're going to a
Well, I wanna
restaurant.
make sure I understood that, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, that's
It
what,
said it was exempt.
I know that's a fancy, word itinerant, but what that means is somebody, it's a merchant. who
Okay,
travels
that's what
door
I wanted to
door.
clarify.
I mean, that's what that.
I didn't bother to look it up, but I wanted to clarify that to make sure, cause
And
I asked earlier and I was told yeah, it probably does.
When Jeremy's here, of course, I'm sure he doesn't care. He sent an email, I think everybody got it, that, that's one. I had a
But that's
couple-
why, I only had questions,
Yeah.
I'm not opposed.
That's a
to it.
good question.
So if it doesn't affect that, cause we do have a few of those, I think, that are making ends meet by that, and I haven't heard of anyone complaining about that.
This would just be door to
But the
door.
door to door, all of us could use some rest from some of that. I think, I haven't personally had it, but when I first moved here, I had it. There used to be someone trying to sell meat all the time. right with
The
a
way I
freezer.
understand it, this would require, and it's not to say that everybody would come get the license, but at least if, the sheriff's department, who's answered a bunch of calls, and that's kind of where I'm coming from, is the law enforcement, it creates a lot of issues. On the one hand, you have probably a decent person trying to make a living, on the other hand, you have an elderly person who's scared to death and don't know what's going on, and calling them, somebody knocking on their door, but at least this way, they have to put like a decal on their car or something, be certified through the treasurer, I believe it'd be through the treasurer, pay the fee, and at least this helps
Is there
the
anything we
sheriff's
can-
office some.
You know, it sounds good to me. Can we do anything about the mail stuff they're doing? 'Cause I seen a lot of that too.
I don't think our jurisdiction stretches that far.
No, I
Hey,
know.
Will, mine's telemarketers. Can you do anything about telemarketers?
Well, that would be good too, but,
Go
but
ahead,
no,
Will.
cause some of these folks really do prey on the elderly.
I do think that I could probably get more specific in the definition to make it very clear that it is door-to-door sales.
Yeah.
Because I think right now, the way it's written, that it's broad enough, it would depend on what's being sold at the flea market as far as whether that applies to it or not.
Well, I didn't take it that way, but I'm glad you mentioned
Well,
that, because I don't wanna affect those people.
Cause the reason I ask is cause I know there's some people selling produce and it's not produce they grew, it's produce that they probably go down south buy a truckload and come back.
Sell it for more.
They don't go-
Yeah, and I don't.
The way it's and the way it's currently written, that
Wish
would
they might have bring me some green beans for the day.
Well, let's, Will, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, do we want to affect that?
I do, I don't, myself.
Sure. So
I think
I can get more specific as far as.
I think just door to door, don't
Yeah, I
you
do too.
think?
Door to door is what I'm good with that.
So would we have a time to act? I keep interrupting Will.
But
I'm
the
sorry.
main reason I ask these questions, I want to make sure we get whatever we advertise out clearly
Well,
so the
that's-
public has an opportunity to respond.
Would you have time to tweak it, Will, and for us to get it in the paper for next Wednesday, the way we want it?
Yes, I can tweak it and send something back to you all. The other tweak that probably needs to happen with it deals with the penalty phase, because I really wasn't sure what to put as far as penalties. To me, it probably should be a class 2 or class 3 misdemeanor. I've got it listed as class 1 currently. But the reason, because class 3 misdemeanor is obviously fine, punishable by up to, it is a fine only, I think punishable by up to $500. Class 2 misdemeanor is up to $1,000 and that's 6 months in jail. And I didn't know if it needed to be something that's technically a jailable type offense, because if it's just a fine, whether people will just continue to get fined and ignore it. So I wanted some input from you all as far as what the appropriate penalty should be.
Jeremy, did you hear that?
I did.
You any thoughts?
You know, I think a class 1 misdemeanor's pushing it, I really do.
Class 2, probably.
Somewhere along the lines of what Will said, probably 2 or a 3.
I agree.
I mean, I wouldn't suggest jail time for the offense. I mean, that's just me personally, but, whatever you guys, agree to, but I'm good with class 3.
Class 3 then, Will, is that, I mean, do you all think that's, y'all understand what he's saying?
To me, class 3 is probably the appropriate, but at the same time, I didn't want to have something on paper that it's like, well, so there's not enough teeth in it that forces it. But to me, class 3 is probably the appropriate.
All right, so do we want to have a motion to schedule the public hearing with the amended ordinance as we've discussed? Does somebody want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
As well. Go on to item number 22, or excuse me, 23.
22.
22, authorization of payment of invoices.
It's just giving him the authority to make the payments from the 28th to the 31st, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we authorize the county administrator to pay any of our necessary bills between December 28th, which is today, and December 31st, 2021.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
As well.
Write them checks.
Takes us to supervisor comments. Ms. Willis,
I have none.
Ms. Sluss,
I wish everybody a happy new year.
Ms. Kaiser,
I will follow suit with Rhonda.
Mr. Peters.
I'll just say, hopefully everyone had a blessed Christmas with their families and that, and let's hope for a safe and prosperous new year without COVID.
That's exactly my
Well, I
thoughts.
hope you recover without any side effects and everything.
Well, this is my last meeting as chair. I appreciate the board allowing me to do it for 2 years. I really enjoy being chair, but frankly, I'm going to enjoy being able to make motions and not have to relinquish the chair. Wish Ms. Kaiser luck into the new year. I want to challenge this board to be bold. I think we have some good ideas in the works, specifically the splash pad. I don't want to see us let that go. I think we need to bring that to fruition, and let's be bold. We got 2 more years in our terms. Complacency, and I think that may be, maybe I go off sometimes, but I don't know why we want to just sit here and do the same thing that every other board's always done. Let's be bold. Let's do things for the county. Let's be responsible stewards of the taxpayer money, but let's be bold and get things done. And I think that's a challenge that we all need to to move into the new year, but I'm looking forward to a new year. Again, wish Ms. Kaiser the best as she moves into the new role. It's gonna be interesting, but let's not be complacent. Let's keep moving forward, and let's put some of the plans that we have put in place into action. And so that's my challenge to you all. Let's not keep doing the same old, because it's not working. If you've seen the census, we're gonna be 13,000 people. So what's been done is not working. So let's be bold. Is there a motion to close the meeting?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.